in studio with Golden Tate. Hey, I didn't know. I was looking at notes, like deep notes, because I knew about your career like Detroit is what I think of when I think about you.
Yeah.
Where do most people associate you with NFL wise?
If we're on the West Coast, probably Seattle, because more Seattle fans out there. But if you're new to football and kind of just now becoming a fan, whether it's fantasy football, people probably know me for Detroit.
Was your biggest deal with the Giants though? Was that like your most significant
No.
contract?
No. You know what? The Detroit contract and the Giants contract were roughly about the same.
Yeah.
Except for with Detroit, I signed a 5-year deal. Giants was a 4-year deal, but the money was pretty comparable.
I didn't know when I went deep dive. I didn't know you played baseball at Notre Dame. Like to me, blown away. Like that's so like elite. But how do you spend your time training? Because again, if you want to be really great at something, even if you're natural at it, meaning I'm pretty funny, but if I'm going to get really good at whatever I'm doing, like it takes time and effort and energy dedicated to it. But you batted like 270 your freshman year. That's wild at Notre Dame while also playing football. How'd you split your time?
That's a good question. God gifted me with a lot of athleticism, and I was able to.
I think you got mine, by the way. I think you got like my share of it. Yeah.
And I was able to like ad-lib a lot with sports because I was just so gifted that I could go out on the football field and probably go out the night before and still succeed and have 100+ yards, a touchdown, as long as I got enough passes. Same thing with baseball early on before they had the scouting report, but then they had the scouting report and they started throwing me breaking balls. And so I go from like batting 375 to start the season till then I would have like a strikeout a game and maybe go 0 for 4 like multiple times a week. And then they kind of figured it out. But that was kind of part of the deal coming out of high school. So I was drafted out of high school to the MLB by
Diamondbacks.
Yeah, by Diamondbacks. Yeah. And then again, during my rookie season by the Giants, the year they won the World Series, and I was pissed. I was like, man, I should have been playing baseball now. I'd have me a World Series.
That'd have been cool.
Little did I know I'd be, be a Super Bowl champion. But it takes a lot of balance, and I've always taken a lot of pride in just kind of being everywhere. I was able to balance my on-the-field life with my off-the-field life with also the academics part of it, along with having a girlfriend, and I just took a lot of pride in trying, managing that. And so when I got recruited, that was kind of part of the deal. Like, hey, if I'm coming here, I'm playing baseball and football because I didn't know what I wanted to do like long term or what I had a better chance of going pro at. And Coach Weiss was like, yeah, you know what, that's fine. And so my first year didn't go as planned in football nor baseball.
What do you mean in football didn't go as planned? Did you?
Like I didn't come in and play right away, so it was probably really important for me to be in those off-season meetings and mat drills and like these 5:30 workouts. But I, stayed with it and played baseball. And then my second year, I break out onto the scene as a sophomore. And I think I put up like over 1,000 yards, a bunch of touchdowns, and then went over to the baseball thing and had a much more successful sophomore season in baseball. But it was awesome because going from NFL football or college football shape to baseball was a piece of cake.
Because you were in such great shape that it wasn't.
Oh my gosh! Like I would go from like running like gassers and getting crushed physically and mentally to like now I'm just going to hang out in the outfield. While in the Midwest, it's freaking 23 degrees with a wind chill of whatever, and the boys are just waking up at 5:30 doing these hour-and-a-half mat drills, which absolutely crush you. And then you got me just I'm in Texas, feet kicked up, catching fly balls, looking at clovers on the ground, just big chilling, going 1 for 4. And I was like, that's all I need.
250.
Whatever. And so it was awesome for me. And then I entered the NFL draft after my third season at Notre Dame and didn't even make it to my third season at baseball.
Why did you choose Notre Dame? Was it very much because you wanted to do both sports and they had the ability to put you on a big stage with both?
Yeah, it came, and this is the first mature decision I made probably in my life. All right, because look, I was being recruited by them. I went to Pope John Paul, which is in Hendersonville, probably 30 minutes north of here. And when Charlie Weiss shows up and recruits me, at this point he's got like 3 Super Bowl rings, and he's talking to me like this with them on.
Oh, he's showing
He's
them
like,
right in front of your
"Oh."
face. Yeah.
Well, if you want to win championships, his voice like, you want to win championships and you know where to go and go pro, I would consider Notre Dame. And I was like, oh, what? But anyway, it came down to, all right, if I have the opportunity to go pro in football, we got a guy who's won world championships, right? If I graduate from here, I'll have probably a small step up on a lot of people, right? And also, I saw opportunity to come in and play right away as a true freshman on the football field. And then lastly, they're willing to let me play baseball and football because I didn't know what I wanted to do in long term. So between those four things, I was like, you know what? I went on one trip. My official visit, it was in the middle of winter in South Bend, Indiana. They were preparing to get smacked by LSU in like one of the nice, good bowls. And I was like, you know what? Let's ride. I'm going Notre Dame. And
You went in the winter and still made the decision to go to Notre Dame.
yeah, I was tripping. But you know what?
That winter there is just different.
It's awful.
Did you get used to it though, living there? Because it's like I wake up early in the morning, like 3:30 every morning to do the radio show, and people are like, "You must get." I never get used to it. Like it just sucks every day. I'm just better at performing while it sucks. Is that what it's like when it's just cold all the time?
Man, it's tough getting up to go to class, and our campus is so small that you can pretty much walk the entire thing within probably 45 minutes. So you're not really driving to class, and everybody had bikes. Those mornings or just really all day in the winter, it's a struggle, but you get used to it because there are some essentials that non-negotiable you have to have. And one of those is chapstick.
Oh, yeah.
Bro, like you can put on 3 jackets, 4 pairs of sweats, some Ugg boots or some Timberlands, some gloves, have a beanie with the little fur, but you don't got that chapstick, dog. That wind is ripping them lips to pieces. And I learned that, and that's what I remember most about being cold is like, man, that wind chill hit you, it's like rip them lips apart. And so as long as I had my chapstick, I can do everything else.
Any part of your junior decision to get out of Notre Dame because it was so cold and you want to get drafted to a warmer weather city?
No, that didn't even cross my mind. And I honestly, like being from the South, like I didn't even really miss it all that much. For me, I'd rather be practicing in the cold than practicing in like the 95-degree heat with humidity because like as a runner, you get so tired so quickly.
Because of the heat?
Yeah, you just can't get oxygen to your muscles fast enough. I mean, in the cold, you take a minute to warm up, but at least I can breathe. I can run forever, I feel like it.
What was it like going from, because in high school, you were the punter. Were you the punter too? Did you do everything?
Yeah.
Like, so you punted, you ran the ball. Are you also
not the same? Not punt and then go around the
Dude,
ball.
I think you did all on the same time.
He punted, then
I think
ran
you played
on the
both
side.
sides at the same time
Yeah.
too. Not even really possible. But so you basically, they just got you the ball.
Yeah, I was listed as an athlete on Rivals. I don't know if you guys have heard of
Yeah.
that, but 4-star athlete. And man, sports has always just been my getaway. It didn't matter what was going on in life, what I was dealing with at home or in school, or sports made me always feel like I was good enough. And so I held on to that dearly, and really took a lot of pride in just being the best I possibly could. Going to practice in high school was never like I was going to practice. Like, all right, I'm going out here to play some football, play some basketball, play some baseball, and I just had a blast with it.
High school, I assume you felt extremely dominant, like man amongst boys, just because it looked like you're bigger, faster, maybe not taller, but faster, stronger than everybody. College, as soon as you get on campus, do you feel like I'm already as good as these? Like, where did you fall athletically as an 18-year-old with like 21 to 22-year-olds?
Athletically, I've always sized people up and be like, yeah, I'm the best athlete on this field. And maybe it's a sickness in a way, but there's not too many times I let anyone believe or even myself believe that anyone was better than me in anything.
Like you felt when you got to Notre Dame, you were already as good of an athlete as anybody there?
1,000%. 1,000%. But see, that was also my issue. I was super duper athletic. Like I have coaches to this day like, man, you were one of the most gifted athletes I've ever coached. Like I could do just about anything I felt like as a young man. But the reason why I didn't play my rookie season in Seattle and my freshman season at Notre Dame because I couldn't get over the mental part of it. Like I was just an athlete out there just running around. And you throw the ball up, I was playing backyard football. You throw the ball up, I'm gonna go get it. That's it. Like now, knowing plays and route depths and where I fit into the play, that took some time. But once I got that, in addition to my athleticism, that's when I became like dangerous in the NFL.
When you got to the NFL, the speed of the game, did it feel similar to going high school to college, or was it so much more significant going college to pro? Just seeing the other guys faster.
Yeah, the pro level is it's no joke. It's cutthroat. We get Pete Carroll his first year there, new GM and Schneider first year there, and as a rookie, I'm seeing guys from the moment I get in. Guys are coming in, guys are being cut. Guys are coming in, guys are being cut. I mean, I think that year alone we had over like 200 transactions of guys just coming in. I'm talking first rounders getting cut, second rounders getting cut, bringing in every person who'd ever come from USC to give them a chance. And it was like, this is the NFL? What?
And like adult men too, like adult.
Yeah.
Like full beards, like 31-year-old men.
You got grown men who are trying to feed their families, period. There's no scholarship. Like, you better show up, show out. And you got a leash if you're like a first, second, third, fourth rounder. They'll be somewhat patient with you. But after that, you might not get a single rep all week, and they throw you into the game, and they expect you to know your assignment, perform at a high level. And if you don't, you might get cut. They don't. Look, the NFL does not feel sorry for you or anyone else. The show must go on.
When you leave your junior year at Notre Dame and you get in the draft, where did you feel like you would go in the draft? Because you ended up going second round, right?
Yes.
Where did you think you would go? Was there a place that you thought you would go, and what spot did you feel like was numerically would be the best and worst situation? Did you think you go into the first? Were your agents saying that at all?
Yeah. So I was told into the first round, possibly up to maybe halfway through the second round, depending on who's available, what teams need. But I'm sitting pretty good this year. I'm coming out my junior season. I just won the Blitnikoff, which is considered the best receiver in college football. I put up on record-setting numbers, essentially.
Like 1,600 yards.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
was it easy? Was that year easy?
It kind of, because like we were always down. And so you always had to air it out. We had Jimmy Clausen just throwing that thing up, and like me and Mike Floyd just running deep, catching balls over whoever. It didn't matter. Just throw it to us. We're going to find a way. And so it was fun and easy. But I remember draft night. I mean, I'm rocking a shave head at this point. I got a nice outfit, a nice suit on, and we rent out this whole like hotel downtown. I can't even remember the name of it. I got all my homies, my Blitnikoff forward, and I sit there for, I kind of knew I wasn't going top 15 or top 20 or really even top 25. I'm like, all right, the end of it is going to be where I go. Well, I don't get drafted in the first round. So I'm like, all right, cool. Begin, maybe 6, 7, 8 picks into the second round, I'm gone. And the reason why I thought that was because Coach Charlie Weiss had just been fired from Notre Dame and went over to Kansas City. And they had 2 picks in the first 10 picks of the second round. And my meetings, they said, like, hey, if you're there, we really want you. And Coach Weiss said, hey, I'm pulling for you. Obviously, I've seen you. You fit in great in this offense. So I'm just up there like, yep. All right, day 2. This one, I won't be here for very long. And they get to the first pick of the second round. And Kansas City, I think they take like Dexter McCluster out of Ole Miss.
Who's like the running back, wide receiver hybrid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm like, no, they did not. But in my mind, like, all right, well, they got another pick in like 4 picks or 6 picks or something like that. So surely they're going to pick me then, right? I don't even know who they picked. But they did not pick me, and I'm just like, you fucking lied to me. You betrayed me. And so I sit there like, you go from like, so crap. Now you're starting to look on your phone, and now every time your phone rings, you're like, oh, crap, it's just my buddy. Oh, it's a telemarketer.
Telemarketer.
Oh, why are you calling me, dude? Like, and eventually, like, I think it was like a 206 number, or is either 206 or 425. And I'm like, who the heck was this? Where is this? Hey, this is Pete Carroll. I was like, what you want, man? You at SC. I'm the head coach at Seattle Seahawks, and I remember what you did to us a few months ago. Every year you were impossible to guard, and so I would love for you to join our team. And I'm like, oh, okay. Yeah, I'd love to. And so they end up drafting me. And my next question is, where the hell is Washington? Is that like D.C.? And so I'm like, where is Washington?
Because it was never like a thought you would go there.
No.
Like they never had reached out.
No meetings.
Yeah.
No workouts at the combine, nothing. And they draft me, and that was the best possible situation for me, period. If I can do it all over again, I would not do it a single different way. Like having Coach Carroll as a coach, how patient he was with me, what our team did for the city, including bringing the first ever Super Bowl, me meeting my wife in that city, it couldn't have been more perfect. And it was complete God playing chess with me, and I'm so thankful for it.
Were you a fan of the NFL? Because it's weird that you wouldn't know where Seattle was. Or
That's geography, dude. I get Washington, D.C. and Washington State mixed up too still sometimes to this day.
I'm a kid at this point, right?
Yeah.
I'm like 21. Like, kind of phones are kind of starting to be, big time. But, I didn't have an iPhone where you just hop on the app and like,
See
hey,
where
this is
something
where this
is.
is. Like, I'm thinking, I'm a Southern kid, thought I'd stay in the South for the rest of my life, and then I get shipped off to the Midwest where I didn't even know what the Midwest was.
Do you have a favorite NFL team?
The Titans.
Yeah.
I mean, the Titans, a
Down the road.
hometown team. I still cry to this day for,
But it wasn't like
that
the
year.
Seahawks were. I mean, we didn't have NFL Sunday ticket then, so you really
That's
didn't
true.
watch Seahawk games.
I had a poster with all the teams on it. That's kind of how I knew.
I used to buy those little helmets. There's those little
yes,
plastic
the
helmets.
little
Yeah.
plastic ones.
A little
Yeah.
machine. So you go to Seattle, at least, I mean, it rains.
Does it really rain a lot there?
To me, what I remember, it was a constant like drizzle, like nothing that like it was never raining so much that there was even puddles out there. It's just like a light drizzle, and always gray. And I remember there was a time where I would go into work, it would be dark. I would get out of work, it'd be dark, and that is kind of depressing. But the off season, I learned my girlfriend at the time, my wife now taught me how to snowboard. So
So you stayed up there.
yeah.
So you made that home.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't have money like that to be having multiple places.
But we all think you do.
Yeah,
When
well,
you're-
what do you
when
mean
you're
when
in the
you get-
NFL, we think everybody has $100 million.
So I've always thought like when you get drafted, it's like, oh, this is it, payday. Is that not the case?
You play the game to get that second payday. That second payday, if you do it right, that's the one that sets you up hopefully for life and even digs into generations if you do it correctly. And so, yes, when I was drafted, it was a whole bunch of money. I'm like, oh, okay, I can kind of get whatever I want and not really have to think about it. But I was also one of those guys like, man, I got a plan for only the guarantee. And if something happens, God forbids, I need to plan to have something to fall back on where I don't have to work right away. And so trying to find out what investment makes sense, who to trust, who not to trust. Like, this is a lot for a kid who grew up in the hood that all of a sudden has all this money. When I got into the league, I didn't even know how to write a check, let alone taxes. I thought, okay, I'm getting $3 million. I'm getting $3 million. And then after that, you're going to take the few percents for the agent and then your financial advisor. I'm going to auto pay my rent. And like, it's not really a lot of money when it's like, okay, here's $500 here, $1,000 here. But when you look at it over a year span, you like,
Yeah, like it
you
all
spent
adds up.
how much?
Yeah.
And
Were you
like
taking care of yourself like LeBron? Like definitely different, and technology is different, and like what we even know about our bodies is different. In the past 10 years, it has progressed so much. But even Derrick Henry, like they spend a lot of money to keep their bodies right. What was your routine like? Were you like what did you do to stay healthy? Like were you spending money on masseuses? They have those at the facility. Were you doing like chef, like food, or did you start doing that later once you realized how important that was?
I started doing it later. I was getting massages early on because the older guys were getting massages, and I tried not to be super hard-headed, and I did some of the things, but obviously late in the season, you just kind of like, I'd rather just sleep and rest. But I always took care of my body, but as you get older, you feel your body changing. You feel that you can't do things as easily as you did when you were 21, 22. You start feeling like, okay, when I was my first few years in the league, I could play a game on Sunday, and no matter how many times I got hit a tackle, I woke up the next morning feeling like I could play another game. Now I get to year 5, 6, 7. Now it's taking me until Wednesday morning to pretty much get right, and I got to get massages, acupuncture, NAD drips, hydration drips, ozone therapy, just to be able to practice on Wednesday and Thursday and have myself back before, hopefully by Saturday. So I'm going to Sunday confident, feeling like I mentally have clarity. Physically, I feel good. And you're just kind of hoping. So you start adding and taking things away each year. You realize, all right, well, I don't need this as much, so I'm going to take that out, substitute this. And so you just had to mix and match. And, it used to kill me, man. Guys in the locker room would spend money playing Tonk and playing Boo-Ray, which is the games, and going to the casino. But then I would have like a ART guy or a masseuse come in that was, highly known. And they, weeks before, they'd be, hey, yeah, I'll be there, I'm there. And then it come the day of, oh, bro, it's too expensive. But I just saw you play that entire hand right there on the game of Tonk that you played stupid at that. What do you mean? And so then I was like,
yeah, but that was fun.
Yeah, right. Like for that 2 seconds, and then guess who gets stuck with the bill? It was supposed to be split, 15, 20 ways, but then you have 3, 4, 5 guys, and it goes from like $500 a head till now it's $1,000. But I thought you said it was $500. Well, I also thought X, Y, and Z are going to be there, but they bounced last minute, so it used to piss me off. But you got to kind of pick and choose, like when you're going to complain to your teammates. So I'd be like, it's all good, bro. I'm the OG. I signed this deal, so the optics of it is I should just pick it up. All of them like, man, punks.
When you go up your first year and you go from your playbook at Notre Dame to your playbook with Seattle, and I'm just thinking playbook, like they literally give you a book. Is that what happens, a binder? Is it how much more in-depth is it than what you came from to what you went to?
It's so much in depth, much more in depth. And when I got to Notre Dame, because I was recruited as a running back.
Out of high school.
Right. And then when I got to Notre Dame, Coach Weiss noticed that I was only watching the receivers. I don't know why, but my rated them receivers. And so he says, hey, I saw you watching the wide receivers, so I'm willing to recruit you as a wide receiver. That's fine. I said, okay, great, awesome. Didn't even cross my mind.
You were open to the change?
Yeah, well, I kind of saw myself as a receiver anyway. My dad was a receiver, and I'm a 5'10", 190 guy. And too many of us running the ball. But the playbook, man, going from running back to receiver, it is so tough. I think being a receiver is one of the toughest transitions in football, especially when you get traded, because not only do you have to know your route and the combination, but you have to know both sides of the ball, like the left side and the right side where you're in 2-minute offense. You got to understand, like, if they run this coverage, this route turns into this. Or if they run this coverage, you have to get an outside release, because if you don't, you're going to blow up the guy that you're, running the route for. So you got to understand a whole bunch. And on top of that, you got to build the camaraderie of the quarterback. And on top of that, you got to rely on the offensive lineman to hold up well enough so the ball can get to you. So, like, I struggled my freshman year, and then I struggled again my rookie and sophomore season. But then once it clicked and I figured it out, football became fun, man.
See, I think my frustration would be running a route and not getting the ball thrown to me, because like I'm a type A. Have to be in this industry. I'm a type A. I need the attention. I need the mic. I need whatever it is. And I feel like if I'm the guy and I'm going out and over again, I'm running these routes as hard as I possibly can, and the ball is not coming to me, I feel like I would be personally offended. It would bother me.
It does.
And then I would just stop thinking it was ever coming to me. There would reach a point where, like, I'm never getting the freaking ball.
Can you say something? Like, who do you tell?
When you're young, you just kind of got to shut up and just let the film speak, because the eye in the sky sees literally everything. So you kind of had to just play and, like, do your job. Like, it was for a greater good. But coming out of high school where I was the guy, you needed something, I'm punting the ball, I can throw the ball, I can catch the ball, I'm running the ball, I'm the punt returner, I'm the kick returner. I'm used to, like, the offense being around me. And then you get to Notre Dame, it's not that way, but eventually becomes kind of that way, because I was one of the best players on the team. And then you get to the league, and it's nothing like that. You have to do a job. You have to, like, run this route in order for the concept to work correctly, because you're going to get coverages where, like, I'm running a cover 1 route, but we get cover 2, which makes my route dead. But I need to do a job to open it up for the spot route inside or whatever the route is for them. And so understanding the big picture is key. And that's why I think being a receiver, you really do have to be smart. And you have to be smart quick. Like, you have to make these decisions to go inside or outside before you really even get to think about it. And so, like, that's what makes it hard. And, like, I took a lot of pride in knowing what I was supposed to do, figuring out where the hole was, and also making plays.
Yeah, I would be really frustrated. I'd go back to the huddle after. Well, you have a helmet on.
Well, what are you gonna do? What are you gonna do?
Well, you don't with the ball. But if you're playing baseball, you can see your mouth. Or basketball, you can see that. With a helmet on, like I would go back to the huddle, and be like, yo, like throw me the ball.
I'm open, man.
Would you ever go back and be like, throw me the ball?
Oh yeah, I actually got put in timeout, if you will, one of my last season with New York. But as a receiver, we always think we're open. Like, I would see myself on camera. I'm open, man. There's a DB.
Hand up.
There's a DB right here on me, waiting on him to throw it. I'm like, I'm open. And then you watch the film. But we're in COVID year. We got Joseph Judge, a Patriots descendant, and I wasn't getting the ball as much as I probably should have. Actually, I know I wasn't getting the ball, and we sucked. And I can deal with sucking but statistically succeeding, or not statistically succeeding and winning, but I can't suck and be losing. I'm gonna have an attitude. And so we're down by, 14 at Tampa Bay at home, COVID year, no fans, that sucks too. And they finally throw me the ball in the back of the end zone, and I go up and make a hell of a catch, get my feet down, and I'm like pissed at this point. Like, I've been waiting all game, like, throw me the dang ball.
Who's the quarterback?
It was Daniel Jones. And I remember looking into the camera and was like, throw me the damn ball. And then I said it again, like, later after a catch. And between those two things and me getting into the locker room pissed, like, hey, if y'all not going to utilize me, trade me. Like, why am I here? You're paying me all this money to not even utilize me. And on top of that, my wife going on Instagram, putting it all over her story, like pointing out when I'm open, throwing the ball. And so I get a call the next morning from Joe Judge. I'm like, hell yeah. He gonna see what I see, and he's gonna, throw me the ball. We're about to play Washington Redskins at this point. Now the Commandos is what I call them. And they're like DFL. They're probably the worst team in the league at this point. This complete dumpster fire. And I'm like, Joe Judge calls me in there and said, hey, why don't you just take a week off and, like, go home, or we're not going to play you. Like, what you did was unacceptable. I'm like, huh? And he's like, you can't act like that. You yelled at someone in the locker room, and then you yelled into the camera. And I'm like, so you're suspending me right now? And then so I call my agent, and he's like, hey, just take the week off and come back next week, and then we're going to refocus and get you the ball. I'm like, I go home and I call my agent, like, dude, they just suspended me for this. Joe Judge circles back and says, hey, we actually changed our mind. We want you to come in to practice, and we're going to put you on scout team as a year 11 veteran. I'm going to put you on scout team, and then we'll make a decision at the end of the week. And I'm like, okay, you know what? I'm gonna practice humility right now, okay? I'm gonna practice humility. I'm not gonna snap, and I'm gonna be the good 11-year vet that I should be. And so I go out there and run scout team and absolutely torch.
You did go run scout team.
Yes, I torched our defense as they're preparing for Washington. I'm talking about, I was going deep, jumping over people, spinning the ball, looking at Joe Judge like, yes, this is what I'm capable of, dude, but y'all don't throw me the ball.
Why do you think he didn't want to get you the ball? Did he not understand what you, like, in what ways you excelled? Why was Joe Judge not allowing you to thrive?
I don't know. And I don't know if it was Joe Judge or if it was Jason Garrett.
Who was the offensive coordinator?
Yes. Yeah. I don't know. I don't know. And I wish I knew the answer, because we weren't very good. What did you have to lose besides give the guy who's been performing his entire career some burn? Instead, we're making game plans for guys who drop the ball weekly. I'm like, what's going on? You got something against me? I mean, what? Anyway, so I dominate them in practice, get to Friday where he's like, all right, we'll have a decision by Friday. I obviously know the offense because I've been running it every week and I'm a professional. And he still says, hey, you know what? We're going to roll with the guys who've been practicing all week. And we're going to, you just stay back at home, come back ready to go that Monday. And we promise you, we're going to get you involved. I'm like, are you freaking serious? We go out there, or I guess they go out there and win the game, which they should. It's the Washington Redskins.
Do you watch it on TV?
Yes, I watch it, and I'm on edge. Like, I'm like biting my fingernails. I'm like cursing myself out, cursing anyone in the organization out. I'm like mentally, and I'm pissed. I get back in, and being the professional that I am, I go and back to business as usual. I have I have a better season. We still suck, and at this point, I have 2 more years of my contract. And we get to the end of the year meetings, and we're sitting in an environment like this, and Joseph Judge is like, I really appreciate how you responded and how you handled after that situation earlier this year. And if it's up to me, like, we're going to have you here. We're going to build on it. We're going to find ways to get you the ball, and so on and so forth. And I'm like, oh, great, good, okay. I'm glad I wasn't an asshole. I mean, it's good. Man, 3 weeks later, hey, Golden, this is Dave Gettleman. We just want to let you know that we're going to release you, and good luck, and thank you for everything you do. And Joe gets on the phone like he didn't just tell me all this BS. And he's like, thank you. I really appreciate how you handle yourself as a pro, and good luck with everything. And I'm like, what in the flying beep? I'm pissed. And anyway, so that's kind of how it all ended for me.
How was your body at that point? And how's your body now? Like, do you hurt now?
Yeah.
I mean,
Oh, yeah.
if it's joints,
Everything
bones?
hurts.
Okay, so I go through my disability stuff, and it's a point system. You get 11 points based off different injuries that you have, and I got 11 points in flying colors. I was probably more at 27 points, and so I go into the doctor because I've always had neck issues. I'm like, I'm having all these issues with my neck, and they tell me C4, C5, or something like that, and the doctor says, Mr. Tate, so how old are you? And I say, I think I'm 34 at this point, 33 at this point. He's like, well, you have a 74-year-old neck. What? I mean, that can't be good. It's like, you don't need surgery yet, but like everything's just worn down, which is expected from playing football, contact sport. But I'm like, a 74-year-old neck, and I'm only mid-30s. And that was kind of that moment, like, wow, this is what I signed up for. And now I have arthritis in my left big toe. I got
In your toe?
Yeah, my left big toe, man. It's
Like, you can't move it at all. Like,
I can't move it. It hurts. I feel like I need to pop it all the time. I got bone spurs at the top of it. I obviously have neck and shoulder issues. Like, I took a lot of pride of staying out of the training room and being available and healthy. One time I played through a grade 3 AC joint sprain, which is pretty much a separation to the point where, like, it sticks up right now. I didn't miss a single. It was a 4 to 6 week injury. I didn't miss a game.
With intent on just showing up and being the professional, or if you miss a game, somebody may take the spot?
It was probably everything. Like, I didn't want anyone taking my reps. I loved the game so much. It was my contract year. I felt like we could make the playoffs. I was Stafford's like number 1 receiver. It was the middle of the season, and I was like, I'm not giving them any reason not to like want to pay me.
Do you hide that injury, or do they just know you're playing hurt?
Oh no, X-rays said it's jacked. Like, you don't need. We're going to see how it heals, but you don't need surgery. And so our rehab, it happened going into our bye. So I had a week of like, I'm talking about just trying to grind it out, get it strong, do whatever I need to do. I'm rehab twice a day. I'm just doing it all. And I'm able to like lift my shoulder up and catch balls with a lot of pain, but they shot it up. They numbed it. They numbed it before every game. And so for the rest of the season, I just numbed it up and dealt with it. And still, I think I either had 1,000 yards or I was like 20 yards shy of 1,000 yards. But I played, and a year later or something like that, 2 years later, I ended up getting traded.
How do you deal now? Because you play pickleball?
Yeah. I saw the court out there.
Yeah, we do. Yeah. Yeah, I play a little bit. But like that's a lot of stop and go, especially if you're playing singles. Like, can you still move?
Yeah.
I mean, I assume you can't, but does it hurt?
His toe, man. He just told you.
That's what I'm
arthritis in
saying.
the
Like
toe.
all those injuries feel like that would keep me from being prime pickleball.
Yeah.
You know, yeah, it does hurt, and I feel limited at times. But as a football player, you've been taught that no pain, no gain, right? Like if I'm not hurting somewhere, I'm not doing anything. I'm not doing something right. And I've told myself over years and years and years that, and now I'm starting to realize, like, wait a minute, I'm not even playing football or anything that's significantly as hard as football. Why am I still aching and pains? And it's like the less I work out, the more these pains start stacking up. I'm like, man, why is my other knee hurting? Like, what? But it's not going to stop me. I refuse to just sit on my tail and not do anything because I am an athlete, and I have on my worst days is when I don't get to go play golf or play pickleball or do something competitive. Like, I'm a born competitor, and I believe God gifted me with a lot of athleticism, and I will use every single drop of that athleticism, even if that means I'm in pain doing it.
I wish I could buy some of it. Like, I only got rich recently, and I wish I could like buy some of it because I wish I was an athlete. Like, I would try my whole life, but because you're a little too injured to use all of it, right? Effectively. Don't you think? Like, he's got all these injuries. Like, I have a little bit of that. I would like scoop some. Final 3 questions, Eddie.
What do you miss the most about the game?
Definitely the locker room. Like the brotherhood of it, being in one place with the same goal of winning and putting in the same amount of work, and the reward of winning, and the dinners, the blood, sweat, and tears, all that. It's like you got a bunch of guys with so much in common. How we got here is pretty similar. We all went to some school. We all got drafted or undrafted. We all got there some way, and you have so many similarities and backgrounds, and then you don't have it anymore, man. I long for like that sense of community, especially after like COVID, like having to be stuck in the house, go to work. I couldn't dap up my homie. I had to just like, hey man,
Oh, that's weird.
with the mask on, I can't read lips. You know, it's a disaster. It made me really appreciate relationships a lot more, and like that's probably what I miss the absolute most. And like I'm constantly looking for a way to have that camaraderie, and so I found that with golf and pickleball at times, and yeah,
We can be your dudes.
Yeah, we'll camaraderie.
Yeah,
Is that how you say
right.
it?
We
Camaraderie.
that's right.
2 questions left. Who was your favorite quarterback to play with?
Matthew Stafford.
So were you happy when he won?
Heck yeah. So I wasn't playing at this point, so I was able to like gamble. As soon as he got traded,
Yes.
oh yeah, that's a whole nother area.
Yeah.
Boys.
Us too.
Come on,
Yeah.
degenerates unite.
Yes.
It's Matthew Stafford. The moment he got traded, I gave him a call. Hey, buddy, I'm a free agent. Bring me on over. It didn't work out, obviously, but the moment he walked into LA, I went and put a bet. The Rams were winning the Super Bowl like week 1 or week 2 for like, I don't know, $100, and it paid out like $1,500.
Yeah.
I felt like a genius.
You bet at the beginning of the year. It wasn't like you bet at the Super Bowl. You bet it because you felt
Awesome.
like
Yeah,
Stafford was
I knew Stafford. I knew that if he was just in a better situation, that man would thrive. Like, look at what he done in Detroit with not much around him. I mean, he had Megatron, but besides that, like it was a one-man band. And so, like, I just knew like how talented he was. And people used to think they would ask me the same question, and I say Matthew Stafford, and they look at me like, what? Not Russell Wilson? Not even close.
who you won a Super Bowl with.
Yes, not
Right.
even close.
Right.
Like Russell is and was good and can throw a great deep ball, but the things that Stafford was doing was next level. And so I went from like, oh, this Golden Tate has no clue about football. He's an idiot. To like, oh shit, Golden Tate might know what he's talking about, because Stafford goes there after 1 year, less 1 year, wins a Super Bowl. That's only happened like once more with Tom Brady ever, where you leave the team you've been with for decades, go to a new team and win a Super Bowl that first year. Doesn't happen. And so suddenly people are like, okay, yeah, Stafford's really good.
Final question. Week 1 to week 2, because that's where we are now as we're having this conversation. Are there times where you don't quite know what your team is until week 1? Or when do you kind of learn your identity as a team? Like if you're actually going to be good or not?
As a fan or as
no,
a player?
as a player.
That's a good question.
Because like the Panthers, they had 100 scored on them. Like, are they all like, well, we really do suck?
Yeah.
Or does it take a few weeks? Because there are some teams that had bad week 1s that can actually figure it out.
These teams that get blown out, I think the gap is a lot closer than fans can see. And like you believe, no matter who you have, that you can beat any team on any given day. Now the question is, can you consistently do that? And that's a mentality, a bunch of intangibles kind of coming together, intangibles, and a team like Carolina, they're just fighting an uphill battle. Like they got, new head coach, which coached me, and I believe in him, Canales. But to me, the quarterback situation is a little bit, but they're going to beat some people this year that you probably thought they never in a million years should have beat, but that's just the NFL, right? And so I wouldn't bet on them to go to Super Bowl or anything.
How many weeks until a team knows its identity or how good they're supposed to be? Kansas City obviously knows. They've won 2 in a row. But like with Detroit, going into every year where you're like, we kind of know how good we are. We're a 10-6 team. We're a 12-4 team. Or every year is it kind of soft and you kind of figure it out as you go?
You kind of figure it out as you go, and but every game you look at it like, man, we should have won that. If we can have, usually it's probably within 5 to 8 plays back, you feel like you probably would have won that game. And so when I got to Detroit, it's almost like we had a losing mentality. We were hoping we were going to win instead of expecting to win. When I was in Seattle, we played at CenturyLink. We were winning. We knew we were going to win. It didn't matter if it was 36-0 at halftime. We was going to win. We did not lose at home. And when I got to Detroit, it was just like, all right, I hope we win this week. It's like, nah, man, go get it. Like, let's go get it. And so we started to change the mentality. And then now Detroit expects to win. They know that they're going to win. And if they don't win, it's something that they did, nothing that the opponent did.
Yeah, now we also expect them to win the last level of confidence. Like they think they might win, then they think they should win. Mm-hmm. Now we think they should win because they've showed us over and over again that they should win.
Absolutely.
We really appreciate you coming by, man. This is awesome.
My pleasure.
Yeah,
man.
I feel like my big toe would really significantly bother me more than I ever thought about it. But I was the whole time.
You
well, the whole time he's
day.
talking, I'm thinking, how much do I use my big toe?
Every day.
I think more than I actually realize I use my big toe.
A lot.
That's what I've taken from this. That my big toe is actually quite important because the whole time I've been pushing my big toe, like thinking of stuff I do, and I'm like, man, that sucks.
Yeah. Just pay attention when you walk around. Like when you take every step, it's gonna end. It's gonna start with like right here on your big toe.
Is that why turf toe is so bad?
Yes, dude.
What is turf toe?
It's like it's hell. I don't even know what technically happened.
All
but it's like the ligament gets super, 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 super stretched, and I guess it's like a sprain on the toe. But literally, life starts on that toe, right? When you hit the bed, hit the ground in the morning, big toe. When I take my step with my left and my right, big toe is pushing off. When I run, obviously, big toe. And so I got arthritis in my left one. But my right one, I had a broken sesamoid that I played on for 2 years. They went into it eventually and saw that the thing was split and the bone was bad. And so they took it out like after I played on it for 2 years. And I'm like, gosh, I'm thinking this is what arthritis feels like. Nope.
I feel like a big toe injury for an athlete, because it's so significant, is like an ulcer in my mouth.
Oh, yeah.
I can't tell measurement. It sits there, and every time I talk,
it rubs against your
it's
tooth.
It's basically the same. NFL player, but the foot injury is me with like a little cut in my lip.
Man,
exactly the same thing.
Have you a shot of tequila?
You know, like exactly.
You'd be all right.
Golden, we appreciate you coming by, man. Thanks a lot.
My pleasure.